Welcome. Now is the official welcome. The lights have dimmed. It's getting real. Thank you all. You've braved thunderstorms. You have braved a parking ramp, and we are here together. Welcome. I'm Ann Hoyt-Taff. I'm the Executive Director of the Minneapolis Parks Foundation. This evening is a part of our Next Generation of Park event in its 15th season. These are events that are always free and where we try to showcase important issues of place affecting our community. And tonight we're focusing on experiences in nature and stories of those experiences. At the Minneapolis Parks Foundation, our mission is to transform human lives through parks and public spaces by aligning philanthropic investment and community vision. Community vision for our parks comes to us in many forms, including first-hand accounts of park-related experiences. Many years ago, I had this awesome job as an outdoor ed leader, similar to some of the staff you'll see tonight. And every week in the winter, I got to take fifth graders out. One of our best events was an adventurous night hike we would go on without flashlights. I loved to read their surveys at the end of the week, where I inevitably saw things like, "My favorite part is when my teacher let us jump off a cliff in the middle of the night." And we did adventurous things, not quite that adventurous, but of course the power for me and the power for all of us was seeing firsthand in their handwriting what those experiences felt like that to them. And it means so much to me to be back in the room listening to students again tonight. I really want to thank our story seekers and our storytellers who are with us. Thanks to all of you creating the audience of listeners for these stories. And our official thank yous to our sponsors. We're here at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, who are hosting our event tonight. And NPR News is a huge champion of the Next Generation of Parks series. We are thrilled that we have Stephanie Curtis, our Director of Programming from NPR, to help us facilitate today. And we also want to thank Barr Foundation and the Minneapolis Foundation, as well as our partners North Hennepin Community College, Change Narrative, and BairStories. And thanks to all, of course, our Minneapolis Parks Foundation donors. Your support makes these events free and accessible to everyone. So I get to welcome up Stephanie Curtis of NPR News, who's going to facilitate our film screening and our program tonight. She wanted a short bio, so here it is. She is the Director of Programming for NPR News and has worked on a variety of projects, including local news, call-in shows, idea festivals, live literary series, The Current, and a personal finance show. I know she's so excited to talk with the students tonight and to help share their stories with all of you. So thank you all again, and welcome, Stephanie.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks for being here, everybody. So we're going to be watching Belonging. This film follows students in a North Hennepin Community College class that's called Environmental Justice and Nature Immersion. I think we all want to sign up if we haven't been class members yet. One of the great pleasures of living in a state like ours is having 4 seasons to really appreciate and embrace the outdoors. I'm a little giddy right now with spring fever, and no doubt some of you are too, but I know intellectually, if not emotionally, that come September, I will start daydreaming about the nights getting cold and being able to wear sweaters and enjoying the prairie walk near my home by Lake Pepin without any ticks at all. Nature keeps us connected, nature keeps us healthy, nature keeps us balanced, it keeps us in awe. So let's sit back now and watch the students as they embark on a journey through nature-based education and environmental justice. After the film, we'll be inspired by local storytellers and then joined on stage by Ana Munro of North Hennepin Community College's Outdoor and Environmental Leadership Program, along with students, mentors, partners, and film creators. But first, let's sit back and enjoy Belonging in Nature.
When I'm in nature, I feel happy, I feel alive, I feel safe, I feel like my spirit is rejuvenated. And I see that with my students too when they're out in the forest. A lot of learning takes place inside. It follows a curriculum that can sometimes be restrictive. The first gap that I noticed was students who are really interested in pursuing educational pathways or career opportunities in the outdoor fields. They just didn't know where to go or who to ask. And then the other gap that is really critical, there is a huge equity gap in access for BIPOC people, including students and our children in Minnesota, in access to nature and outdoor spaces. Global and Cultural Studies 1970 Environmental Justice and Nature Immersion is an 8-week college class, and it brings together high school students from 6 different districts and college students from North Hennepin Community College, which is in Brooklyn Park. We take students up to spend 5 days of immersive learning up at Camp Northern Lights. And then they also get to experience nature. One young man said at the end of our time at camp, you know, I really want to know what I want to do with my life now. I feel like I have a sense of purpose. Several of them have taken internship roles at Three Rivers. And then I have 2 students who have been in internship roles with a project on solar equity in Minnesota. For me, it was really important that this program be free for students. One of the things that I really wanted to do was remove any barriers in access, and cost is always an issue, and it's really expensive to go and visit northern Minnesota and stay at a camp. The partners in this work, the YMCA and Three Rivers and other partners, have been really generous, donating staff, time, giving us fee reductions, and then several granting organizations have supported the program in year 1. But long term, it would be really nice to have somebody who would support the program in an ongoing way. Every person has a particular skill or a particular gift. Some people can contribute time, some people can contribute money, some people can contribute their expertise, some people could contribute food, because students like to eat. So I think there's lots of different ways, and it just depends on what you have to give.
So, first question is, do you belong in nature, and why?
The vibes I'm getting, it's just like last year, so I'm feeling it's gonna be something new, but something different at the same time. And I think because I'm the only student returning here, I'm playing a leadership role, it's gonna be a different kind of perspective for me here.
Feeling excited and also a little anxious because, you know, I'm going with a whole group of new people. I gotta get to know these people. I don't know them at all, you know.
I'm nervous being away from my family. I've always gone on trips with them, so it was my first time just being by myself.
Native people had to stand up for themselves. Well, there's the history part of living on any one of the 7 Ojibwe reservations in the state of Minnesota.
Time frame, there's about 7 major stopping places that were designated for our people, and so each of these stopping places could last anywhere from 50 years to 100 years. If the Miga shell ever came out of the sky again, you knew it was kind of time to keep moving. A couple of the places that we really want to talk more about, kind of this Detroit River area, so this third stopping place, that's kind of where we split from this large group of Ojibwe-speaking communities and kind of broke off into other different nations. The other Algonquin languages like Kickapoo, Sac and Fox, Potawatomi, Menominee, those tribes kind of stayed on the south side of the Great Lakes, and then the Ojibwe-speaking communities kind of stayed on the northern part, so kind of in the Canada, top of the UP of Michigan, northern part of Wisconsin, northern part of Minnesota, all the way as far west as Montana, actually. So instead of having like a physical currency like money, it was all based off of trading. And so on the back there, we have kind of in cursive, we have the standardized system. So you have, one beaver pelt is worth 3 wolf furs. You have some other, objects, blankets, tobacco, candles, fabrics that you might see within this fur trading post here.
Somewhere deep beneath this south, there's another game. So much fear and so much care, just another night. And I wave back home and I wave back through just a common thread. I walk through the fire and I wait for the fear, but you went alone. And I wait back home and I wait back home and I wait back.
It was actually that talk around the fire that Jerry had when he was talking so much about his culture, and I still feel that disconnect, and it's hard to cope with that at times because I feel like I want that kind of pride, and I want something like that to hold on to, because I don't have that with my family or anything else. We don't have tradition like that, or I don't know anything about my ethnic background or anything like that, and I want to learn. I really do, because I feel like when I do that, it can help me figure out my identity out here in the outdoors, because like I said, I go with my white grandpa and my white uncles and all that, and I'm kind of the only brown person out there, man, and I try not to pay close attention to it. I try not to overthink it. I just try to enjoy what I have. But why am I the only one here, and why don't I have what so many other people have? I just get proven over and over and over again that this is what I need. This is what makes me me. Being out here, man, just the sights and sounds, and the thing that scares me is it's not gonna last forever because of what's going on with our climate and all that. I feel like it's gonna go away before it's even begun for me, That's a bigger one. Is that a pike? Oh, that's a neck crash. Woo! Now that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh. Yes, bro.
Let's see.
Oh, small hands, man.
See, I can go into the Pringles, like when I try to grab the Pringles.
So we're gonna go biking. We have from now until pretty much lunch, I think, right, Anna? Yep. Okay, so now until noon. So we've got over an hour to go biking, which is plenty of time. Meander around here and get comfortable. Practice shifting a little bit and make sure that it all feels good and stuff like that. Let's head into the trail center really quick. There's still a couple of helmets up here. She's always sitting.
good, Dorian?
Okay.
You got it.
The really cool thing about the Wolf Center is we're also non-advocacy. So we don't take a stance on hunting, legislation, any of that kind of stuff. So we're really just there to teach people. So hunters can come in to talk to us, ranchers can come in to talk to us, people that know nothing about wolves can come in to talk to us. So we're really there to just help people understand what they're really doing out there in the wild. So someone was asking what telemetry is. It's really just going to be a way to track animals, and that's going to be through radio collars. So this here is what a radio collar looks like for a wolf. They get a little bit bigger when you're looking at deer ones, because deer necks are a little bit bigger than wolves. Get a little smaller if you're putting it on something smaller. Makes sense, right? But this is going to be the part that's actually going to transmit the signal. So this will send out a signal to this equipment here that we can hear and translate to how close that wolf is actually going to be and where that wolf is located. So for this equipment, this is going to transmit the signal, and then our Yagi, fun word for this device here, is going to receive that signal, and then our receiver, which is going to be the part that will kind of transmit it into understanding for us. So we're going to practice today by hiding the collar around, and we're going to try to find it. Does that sound like we can do that? Sounds reasonable? Yeah. 3.
Is there such a thing as a lifetime fishing license in the state of Minnesota?
Yes.
Okay, I want one.
Yeah, I think it totally depends.
Damn, boy, actually has a whole seed.
It's over there.
Yeah, we saw you run.
Did y'all see me?
Yeah.
I knew I saw
They're
me.
so dumb.
Oh, bummer. They see me. They probably see me, but they're still all the way over there.
Maybe they're just trying to do.
They really thought you went there first now.
Okay, so for those of you who hit the collar, can you show the group where it is?
I hit it.
Can you show them where it is?
It's not that way.
Wherever it is. Awesome.
Bro, you're not finding it, bro.
You got it? I get it.
That's how you bro.
I didn't know we could plant in a tree.
Oh, well. Yeah, y'all wouldn't have found it if it wasn't in the tree, so the tree doesn't make it.
That was like bent. Wait, how would any of us even have got that? Right, like we're short.
We're short.
Cheating, we win. Greg is right, did not tell us he put it in the tree.
Almost every one of our ancestors used fire to cook food. That is probably our similarity. And then we all have food in common. You guys will leave here with memories of food and memories of other things, but then maybe you'll eat a food or a spice down the road and it'll be, oh, I remember that taste from camp. But tonight we're gonna celebrate the last night you're here by making our own bread, so that you'll also, while you're inside, make a kebab. And you'll put your kebab in there, and we've got some sauces on it and some chips and some mashed potatoes for you too.
Okay, where would you like that?
We can do 3 at a time, and if you guys want to go on that side of the table, and we're just going to roll this out to the size of like a pita bread.
Symmetry and you see it's very round. It's plump, it's firm, it adds character in it. You can see the definition in it. Feels nice. It has potential, I'd say.
I think that looks great.
How big is it supposed to be? Oh,
How much
Alright. Perfection. That's how y'all do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, you're
What color is inside you?
That's turning it like clockwise every like 2 minutes or so it doesn't burn. Yes, far better inside of.
So, first question is, do you belong in nature, and why?
I really feel like I do belong in nature now, because like now, like getting the feeling of like, I don't know, like feeling peaceful here. I don't really want to go back to like, you know, the fast life. Here I could just like be at peace and like, I don't know, go at my own pace.
I agree with Greg. I just, being here, I feel so disconnected from my school life, and I don't have to worry about responsibilities or chores. So being here, I feel so relaxed, and my mind is so at peace. Yes.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I've made so many different connections with people. I've bettered my relationships with others, and some of my greatest memories have always involved nature, around the fire, in the woods, on the water. So yeah, I do.
But now we have, we're going to be inviting up some storytellers, and Jothsna Harris, who is the founder of Change Narrative. Change Narrative is a nonprofit that helps people and groups and companies discuss the environment and climate. Joining her are Anukalp Jnagal, Dustin O'Brien, and Kimimila Decory, and they're going to share their personal climate stories, reflect on their lived experience with environmental change. Welcome to the stage. Let's get you on up here. Well, I guess we'll grab our own chairs.
Good evening, everyone. As Stephanie shared, my name is Jothsna Harris, and I really have the big honor of introducing our storytellers tonight. But first, I'd like to give just a little bit of context about why we're talking about climate change and sharing climate stories. The science is clear that our climate is changing. 2024 is now on record as Earth's hottest year. 2025 is projected to break that record. That, combined with social injustice, violence, and other harms happening in our world, can add to the challenge of feeling big enough to do anything that makes a meaningful difference. But storytelling is one of the most important tools that we have for taking climate action. Information alone is not enough to move us to change our behaviors. We have to balance that data with our lived experiences, emotion, and heart. Reflections of what it means to be alive in this time, to find and articulate our why, and our care for why we want to make the world a better place. Essentially, storytelling helps us to humanize the data and to bring it to life in resonant ways. As Stephanie shared, my name is Jothsna. I'm the founder of Change Narrative, an organization building capacity for the climate justice movement through the power of our stories. And I've had the privilege of working with the students who are here tonight to craft climate stories that speak to their lived experiences. So in a moment, we will hear from 3 students who have prepared their stories to share with you. But first, I want to emphasize that tonight's stories represent just a sampling of all of the many stories that are represented here in the room tonight, including yours. And here's the secret. The real power of storytelling is listening. Listening to others and to ourselves. When we listen deeply, we open up a world of learning and connection. And while all of our stories are important, tonight I'm asking you to lean in just a little bit closer and listen up as we have a really incredible opportunity to listen to our youth. Before I bring up our first storyteller, I just want to share it takes an incredible amount of vulnerability and courage to stand up here in front of an audience and share something that is so deeply personal. So as we welcome storytellers to this stage, I would love for you to give just a warm welcome. Feel free to use snaps or claps, words of affirmation. Feel free to talk back to the stage. It can be really nerve-wracking to share with a room full of people, many of whom may be strangers. So with that, I invite you to give a warm welcome to our first storyteller. Our first storyteller is Anukalp Jnagal. And Anukalp identifies as a passionate nature lover, as a curious investigator, and someone who loves to learn. So with that, please welcome to the stage Anukalp.
Hey there, I'm Anukalp Jnagal. I'm a freshman at Edina High School, and I'm gonna present my poem today titled Clarity at the Top. 10 steps, 9 steps. You're almost there. 8 steps, 7 steps. Walk a bit faster. 6 steps, 5 steps. Don't give up now. 4 steps, 3 steps. The end is in sight. 2 steps, 1 step. Stop! The path ends. You're at the top of the bluff, king of the world, even if it's just for one moment. Glance down at the buildings, so small, with ants crawling about. Take a look. Do you feel anything? Smell the Mississippi River. Does it sting or does it soothe? However, as you stand here, you recall that your journey is not yet over. Focusing on the details of your environment, you can't help but notice. A large canvas of green and blue is presented before you, stretching as far as you can see. Nevertheless, the longer you look, the more you notice the imperfections. A grid of road streaks the canvas with gray. The sky is much darker than usual. There are fewer trees than there once used to be. The sounds of the outdoors are less prominent than before. What could have possibly happened? The invisible force of destruction. Overlooked factors, erroneous decision-making, and the need for industry all contributed to working backwards to corrupt the masterpiece known as nature. None of it was purposeful, of course. It all started with small choices and small steps. What's the worst that could happen? Some would ask. Little did they know. Little did they know that their small footprints would soon proliferate until they became almost uncontrollable. There's no one individual to blame, but everyone as a collective group. This trek is only halfway complete. You'll need to go back down the slope and return to the world. Still, each descending step feels heavier and heavier with the weight of realization. The biosphere around you, which is so often taken for granted, is always being overshadowed by the so-called chaos of everyday life. Chaos. Chaos. How can something this large and this beautiful be so bluntly ignored? Is this the last you'll ever see of a flourishing ecosystem? Good news. It doesn't need to be like this. This burden, however immense, is not insurmountable. The power to change is not as far as it seems. Just as small steps have caused enormous changes, tiny actions can create strong impacts. Taking the time to appreciate nature, using your voice, and making small, mindful choices and changes in your daily life can help restore the delicate balance and reignite a sense of wonder in the world around you. Your steps start to seem lighter. The world seems to brighten around you. Just remember, it's not over. It never is.
It's always so fun to think these are freshly crafted narratives that are prepared, and you can just see how much confidence and lightness there is in the sharing of those stories. So thank you, Anukalp, for sharing with us. Before I introduce this next storyteller, I also want to share that there are some serious messages that will be mentioned in this next story. So there will be mentions of loss, death, climate grief, and suicide. I'm going to invite Dustin O'Brien to the stage. Dustin identifies as a University of Minnesota undergraduate student. This is first time sharing poetry out loud, and is Twin Cities born and raised. So Dustin will share with us an original poem, and right after that we'll share a little bit of context to bring us into the deeper meaning behind it. With that, please give a warm welcome to Dustin.
Hi, everyone. I cup my hands in the fresh spring snow, now melted in a bed of mud and seagrass. My feet touch the lapping waves like perpetual whispers. You'll be okay. We used to scream at freshwater seas, unafraid of God's harrowing plan to swallow us whole. He never got the chance. You beat him to it. You escaped death by natural means, your lack of presence like garbage wafting through unforgiving city streets. Sometimes I walk under the branches of oaks, and I feel you in the negative space of the sky, looking down on me and wondering why. Sometimes I walk by brick buildings with the harshest LEDs, and I curse you forever for choosing to leave. I'll never understand, but I hold on to the faintest feeling that you're here, still walking with me. I hear your voice from the owl's call. You'll learn to live without me. I'd thrash my body against a wall to make you realize that I never wanted to learn. Thank you. So like Jothsna said, this is about one of my very close friends that passed away from suicide this past August. We spent a lot of time outside together, out in nature, and I think a big reason why he made the decision to take his own life was because the world around us is crumbling and nothing is really being done about it. The poem has like a very conversational tone. I've been using writing as a way to process both the trauma of losing one of my best friends and also processing, climate change itself. And it feels like a way that I can still speak to him even though he's gone is through writing. So yeah, thank you guys.
It's been a huge privilege to work with Dustin and to see the journey of grief, to be able to witness it, and also see the blossoming pathways to healing that have been illuminated through reflection and writing. And Dustin, to see you so bravely and courageously share in front of all of us. Thank you for sharing. We also wanted to share that if you are someone you know is struggling with climate grief or anxiety or thoughts of suicide, specifically around grappling with climate change, that there is help. There is climate-aware therapy. They have a directory of therapists who are trained in understanding climate change and being able to bring that into their therapy. And there also is other informal programs like the Good Grief Network, which is a 10-step program to move through climate grief. So we wanted to share just a few ways, but talking to a trusted family member or a friend could also be another way. So now switching gears to our final storyteller tonight is someone who's really special to me, Kimimila Decory. Kimimila identifies as a senior in high school, an aspiring poet, and identifies as Black, Native, and White American. And I'll also share that Kimimila is an intern with Change Narrative and someone who I deeply respect. Kimimila, welcome to the stage.
Okay, a lot of people. Okay.
Hamataki api Kimimila Wachapi Kachuawi, Imachi api Lakotasu Makoche Mielo Palamia. Hi, my name is Kimimila. My native name is Wachapi Kachuawi. It means girl who chases her own star, and this is my climate story. Okay. The only thing I wanted to do with nature was to check that the sky was still light blue. To indulge in what I mean, I'll start with babies. Babies are peculiar in how they don't have much intellect from their consciousness, but they do know when to fear, especially when unfamiliar wrinkled fingers attempt to rock them to sleep. For me, I was born with excessive anxiety, determined as hypersensitivity. Not because I was nurtured to fold myself into a tiny cocoon at every living substance, but because I learned that the earth can shake, that surfaces can polarize, and that water can become walls of begging, stifled breaths. Though the main character of my nightmare lives within the whistling winds of apprehension. Later in my life, I recognized what's called lissophobia, a phobia of tornadoes, which intrigued my parents because I'd never experienced such, but I was still haunted by any vague association, such as the falling willows, the sky turning, causing crows to swarm into warning groups, or the damning hail or hauling wakia, thunder. It collectively sounded like the upper realm was pissed at humanity. I soon acquired dreams that would sweep me sweating, but I never died in them. Instead, a tornado faced me, claiming me a coward, and how I never saw it coming. I was once asked a question in elementary school: would you rather be murdered or die of a natural disaster? If I recall correctly, everyone chose the second option, including me. For some reason, I found my life ending at the hand of another, more gentle, despite murder having more evil intent. This small event led me to ponder the great why of my great fear. As a Lakota, part of the Sicangu people, I was taught about the circular motion of life. Not in a shallow sense to where we come to this life over and over again, but that beginnings and endings are perpetual, as the soul always has something to learn, that the universe is compatible with ceaseless function. This concept made particularly guess that Earth had a mundane task. One's beginning for souls meant dealing with the refusal of lessons by others. This meant the burden of generational mistakes don't have the luxury to decompose quickly. Tornadoes became the epiphany of my claim, as they were shaped in circles, reminded me of the karma of human activities. That while we feared natural events feared our unnatural causes, or to re-put it, our unnatural disasters. My relationship with nature truly started with guilt, because it made me feel like a Wasichu, a white man who didn't think their ancestors' manslaughter had anything to do with them. With nature, I was participating in the audience that was corrupting the earth. I thought if I could blame other generations' daily activity throwing McDonald's bottles out the window, that nature didn't have the right to react within my proximity. I was 10 when I realized the clear shame in this ideology. That I was so fearful because I knew I was guilty. Responsibility, responsibility, responsibility became a mantra whenever my phobia was stimulated. Though all it took was a mere second of empathy to add my nightmare into my curiosity. With each new positive interaction with the leaves and wild beasts, or my father simply teaching me how to bend cedar trees with my back into Lakota sweat, I realized the true villain, that I was a nightmare, because I was choosing what nature was privilege and what nature I was going to discriminate against, such as tornadoes, because tornadoes still have Tinkashila within them. If I had another redo to the question, I would pick the second option, because now I know humans have the capacity to be the most unnatural thing, for we are the dark dreams that stand and hurt just to hurt. There are no spirits for the detrimental system that we created and give permission to. And that should be the scariest evil of all. I'm still afraid of nature, but the climate has taught me the why and how I need to move forward. Palamia, thank you.
I hope you all are feeling a little bit of what I am feeling, which is pure inspiration. I know that there are many, many stories that we didn't get to hear tonight, which are powerful and important. And it just, I think, goes to show we have so much to learn from each other when we take the time to listen and truly hear what each other has to say. And with that, we hope that you are feeling inspired to think about your own stories. That is the power of a really good story, whether it's shown through film, like Belonging, or told here on the stage, or shown through artwork or dance or other creative expression, is that it draws you into your own memories and your own stories. So hopefully you have been drawn into your own memories and stories tonight, and we hope that you share them with us as well. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to get some chairs up here because we are going to have Ana Munro, who is the teacher at North Hennepin Community College, filmmaker, Danami-Maurice Champion, the DNR mentors that you saw on the screen, Hannah Orima and Tim Pharis, program participants, that means the students, Kaja, Just, Mariah, Davis, Nigozis, Gonzales, Corvine, Parker, Tay, Shinder, and William Yates, and they're coming up here. Meanwhile, if you had a question or a comment or a story that you wanted to share, you can put it on the cards that were handed out with the program. They've even handed out pens. They're very organized tonight. I love that. And then there'll be people coming in the aisles to gather them, and we'll kind of put up their hands, and you can pass them down, and then I can read them to the students. I will start asking you, so the class that you teach, it's 8 weeks?
Yes, it's an 8-week class.
Okay, and what happens in the class? Do you want to say, or do you want to make one of your students explain it all?
Why don't we have Mariah see what happens in the class?
Thank you. Thank you. Just in general, because I think there are a lot of people here, many people probably know a student or a participant, but from the show, from the movie, we saw you guys up at Camp Northern Lights, but if it was 8 weeks, I want to know, hey, what all do you do?
So in this 8-week class, there are weekly discussions, but I think it's near the midterm is when we do a nature immersion program at Camp Northern Lights. It's a long weekend, really. It was 4 days, 3 days, 5 days. And that was the biggest, I think the most significant part of the class for a lot of people, but there were some books we were reading throughout the term as well.
And I don't know who wants to volunteer, but how did your idea, what changed for you from when you started the class to the end? Either your thoughts about nature or just how you see yourself? Someone want to go for it? I see you, Kai, and I know your name, so I'm gonna point at you. Like, how did it change for you?
I started to realize a lot more of the mental health benefits of just being outside.
And do you still go out? And has it changed, like, how you live your life now?
I think after the camp, I started going outside a lot more, and I find myself doing activities out there almost every week.
That's nice. Why don't you pass it to your mentor who's next to you? Hello.
Hello.
I was wondering what it was like for you working with the kids and how you saw them change. Because I don't know if the beginning of the movie, you see the kids and they're all like this, like we all are when we're, I don't know any of these people, what is happening to me? And then at the end, everyone's loose. And
yeah, I was going to reference the film for that reason. You can see everybody on the bus, quiet, keeping to themselves. And then they get to camp, and over the 5 days, there's a huge transformation. Everyone's opening up, everyone's being vulnerable, everyone's feeling the benefits, the comfort of nature. And that bus ride home there's some napping going on, but there's a lot of laughing and camaraderie. It's amazing to see what a 5-day retreat up north can do for students. And Tim, I don't know if you want to touch on that. This is going to be my 3rd year with GCST, North Hennepin Community College. Tim, this was his 1st year up at camp.
Yeah, nature immersion is what I need to say. I mean, a lot of mostly inner city students that have not been in, or I didn't know how much they had spent in the wilderness before, but you could certainly tell that this was a very foreign thing for a lot of them. And you could also see their enjoyment in it as well, which was super enlightening to me. Whether they're calling out a bird that we saw in the woods or just, you could see their connection for sure.
You ready? Yeah. Pass a microphone to him. Hello.
This on?
Yeah.
At least for me going, it was breaking a stigma in my head, you know. And at least when I went, I was scared because you don't see a lot of black people in the outdoors. And I really thought like being outdoors, like part of my French, that's some white people stuff. But we actually learned in class where that came from. We read a book called The Venture Gap. Do you guys remember that? Do you?
What happens in it? What was it called?
The Venture Gap. It talks about how the stigma of like the outdoors being for white people came about, and how the rich white elite commodified being outdoors. But from my experience at camp, the first day I was so nervous. I remember we were supposed to go camping, and there was a thunderstorm. No, not camping. We were supposed to go canoeing, and there was a thunderstorm. And it got canceled. And in my head, I was so happy. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank you. But then the next morning, Nigozis forced me to go canoeing with him. And that was my first time actually canoeing, and I had a lot of fun. But at the end of the trip, I found a love for nature. And I really appreciate Ana for taking me. Yeah.
Nigozis, I'm going to make you talk since you're next to him. What was your favorite part about, like, when you close your eyes and you think about nature, what part of it is your favorite? Fishing or canoeing or hiking, or what strikes you?
I feel like just being, it's a weird feeling like we're just supposed to be out here. Like this is where we're literally biologically come from, you know? Like we just came from the ground and now we're chilling here, looking at all the stuff we just came from. You know, it's a different perspective because we're not always taught that, you know?
How long did it take to get to that feeling? Was it the moment you got to camp, or does it take a little while?
I think I've always kind of felt that little feeling, you know, but it was definitely different coming up here with this, because it's probably the most unique thing I've done in my whole life, you know? Like it's probably one of my first things I've talked to like adults with, you know? I haven't talked to adults professionally before this. And so this was definitely a big thing in my life. And all that being outside too, you know?
It's good stuff. Danami, I want to ask you, first of all, congratulations on the film. It was fantastic. When you have so much footage of all these, how did you narrow it and come up with the through line for your film?
From the beginning, Ana and I talked about telling a story specifically of a BIPOC student. So that was always at the forefront of what we wanted to do. So in our process, when we're telling stories, I do this series of pre-interviews where I'm talking with individuals about the things that they're into, their motivations in life, their desires, their challenges. And from there, I'm figuring out who are the heart of the story. This is the person that you, the viewing audience, will be able to relate to, connect with. And so that person ended up being DeLorean. And that question of belonging, do you belong, was always there. And so we just wanted to show young people in this element and have you answer the question, do BIPOC people belong in outdoors? What you say? There you go.
All right, we've got some questions from the audience. Thank you. I think once people find themselves in the wild, they see the benefits. How do we convince people to slow down, take the time, and find the resources to do it? And this is there's two questions. And for our younger folks, what is the most convincing argument to get you outside? If you are facing someone's got a kid, and they're like, I want to get you outside, what do you think you should say? So I guess, do you want to start, Emily? I hear from you. How do we convince people to slow down, take the time, and find the resources to do it? I'm going to pass you this microphone right now.
Well, I think for me as an educator, obviously, just seeing students in a really different space. I mean, you can probably all tell in the audience how amazing these young people are, and there's other students who are in the audience too. So I think as an educator, students can develop and really show different skill sets in the outdoors. My class is screen-free, which there's a little reluctance or hesitation, and people are kind of maybe sometimes upset about that. But then students really connect. So all of the people on the stage and the storytellers you heard from, they didn't know each other before this class. And we're in our 4th year of the class now. So these bonds and connections are really strong. Everybody tonight, some people hadn't seen each other in a few months or even a year, and yet the friendship is still so strong. So I would just say, as educators, it's really hard to take students outside. The amount of paperwork forms, liability waivers, it's a nightmare. So I would say systemically things need to change. And sometimes we just need to be a little pushy, as my children know that I can be.
All right, which one of the students will take the question, what is the most convincing argument to get you outside? Someone raise a hand. If not, Anna's going to call on someone. Gonzales, yes.
I think recircling on that idea of being the same thing, the same matter as everything around you. It's a unique thing that you don't feel anywhere else. You know, I think if there's any way to tell them about it, I guess that the only way that people could find that love is find their own feeling, you know.
You recommend profundity. I love it. All right, so over 6 months removed from going to Camp Northern Lights, what sticks with you the most from the trip? Yeah?
Well, it's not 6 months for me. It's been almost a year now. It's been a year now. I think the thing that sticks out the most was the bonds I made on the trip. So the boys were in a big cabin all together. There was probably like 10 of us in one cabin. And I remember that first day, I was actually really nervous, and I chose a bed that was like away from everybody because I only knew one person. And I remember that first day, I forgot a towel. I didn't bring a towel, like to dry myself after I got out the shower. And DeLorean, okay. And DeLorean actually, the young man that was in the film, he gave me one of his spare towels, and that was really kind of him because he did not know me at all. But just think about how I was so distant from everybody on the beginning of the trip to the end of the trip, where I followed everyone on social media and I built connections, and I still check in with people from time to time. It's great thinking that I made friends who I can see myself still being friends with 2, 3, 4 years in the future, just from being out in nature for 5 days.
Camp really connects people.
Yes,
Does anyone else want to talk about what their favorite thing to do at camp? Who particularly likes swimming? Did anyone do the 7 a.m. jumping in the lake thing? Did anyone go canoeing or kayaking? What did people enjoy? Anna, do you want to call on someone? Oh, here we go.
Okay, my favorite thing was canoeing. My very first year, I had never been canoeing before, and I was super terrified. And Dexter, who works with the National Park Service, he was like, "I'll take you out. We don't have to go far." And we were so close. I made sure we were next to the dock, just in case we tipped over. And we didn't. We were fine. We went out like a little further. I didn't really notice. And I think it's really funny to look back on that, because after that experience, I was like, maybe I'll like canoeing more. And Anna told me about an opportunity, and now I do canoeing as a job. So that was one of my branching out moments that I really enjoyed.
That's fantastic.
What about Bill?
Bill? Go for it.
What was the question?
What did you like about camp?
One of my favorite things with camp was the mountain biking, as you saw in the film. They've really put a lot of work into the mountain bike trail there, so I had a lot of fun with that. Tim and I went out, and I lost Tim at some point along the way. So I got a little extra practice going around the track a few times looking for him.
Thanks, Bill.
Here's a comment. Someone says, Carl says this, "I want to take 10,000 students from all backgrounds and turn them into urban ice anglers with free ice fishing field trips as part of their school day. Took 500 plus in 2003, took 0 in 2024 because there was no ice. Took 3,200 in 2025. What will 2026 hold?" So that's from Carl. Good job, Carl. For anyone here, and maybe for Hannah, how do we reconnect people of color to the outdoors? For our mentors, or Anna, and then students, your wisdom would be appreciated. Yeah.
There you go. Well, we work for the DNR, so of course I'm going to promote a couple of our programs. But currently we got some funding for a program that's called Get Out More, which is, a lot of it is related to your average citizen that wants to get out in the outdoors, but also disabled folks as well, which is kind of neat. If you're into hunting, there's not even hunting, Becoming an Outdoors Woman is a really good program that we have offered. And lots of mentored hunting, things like that.
I'm going to keep it kind of short and simple, but kind of on what Tim said. It starts with just building a community with people and having everybody feel that sense of belonging with each other and in the outdoors. I feel kind of starting from the ground up, like a place like Camp Northern Lights, and really building relationships can, increase folks getting out into the outdoors at a much more rapid rate, and people feeling much more comfortable getting out into the natural resources.
Danami, what do you think?
Exposure is important. What Tay said earlier, this perception that the outdoors is only for white people. Growing up in Detroit, I think I experienced the same thing, but then moving here to Minnesota and having everything here, like all these lakes. So one, the exposure, and then also seeing people that look like you in these spaces. So I think what's cool about belonging, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but doing a school tour that continues to show this film and other films like it, so that it gives people the exposure to say, hey, that looks interesting, I want to try. And then mentors, educators, we can point them in a direction and say, hey, try this. And if you don't like it, it's okay, try something else. And that's the cool thing about the outdoors, is that there's literally something for all of us to enjoy. It just takes discovery.
That's nice. Anna, one question that I think was probably inspired by our phenomenal storytellers and the poetry that we heard. What readings did you assign about being in nature that dealt with mental health? People are dealing, young people, maybe someone will want to talk about this, are dealing with climate grief and anxiety. And so while we're trying to get people out in nature, it also is something that is, it's hard for people to think about it as it disappears.
Yeah, so just a couple of like logistical things. The class started as just a one class, and then a second class, so a leadership class was added, so students who had taken the first part could come back as leaders. And now there's actually a whole degree which launches next month, so students can take a whole degree in outdoor and environmental leadership. Yes, it's very exciting. It's been a lot of work. And that degree will transfer to, I think, 7 different universities in the state of Minnesota. I think for me as an educator, making like leadership opportunities for students is really important. And then working with people like Jothsna and Danami and Hannah and Tim, so that students are actually able to build these relationships with people doing the work. One of the books that we studied was A Wolf's Trail by Thomas Peacock. So students learned about Maingin, the Ojibwe word for wolf, from a wolf's perspective. And then they got to receive teachings from some Ojibwe elders about wolves. So learning not just about ourselves in nature, but our more than human relatives. And that deep connection, I think, is really important when we're talking about mental health, because we have to also take care of other creatures and other beings and other life forms. That respect for animals is really important to me and really important in my teachings. We also start every day in a circle, and we end every day in a circle around a fire if it's not raining and thundering. And so students' voices and everybody having a space to say how they're feeling or some part of the day that was either hard for them or challenging for them or joyful for them. So that is maybe even more important than the readings, is just making sure everybody's voice is heard. And then everybody got to create a story or a poem. So I think students creating their own stories is kind of more important in some ways than what they're reading.
One thing that a bunch of people wanted to know was, where do you, talking to the students, where do you see your place in the outdoors in the near future? How are you continuing to pursue a connection or a passion for the outdoors? Or is it something that it's hard to do?
Okay. I am currently pursuing environmental science as a degree. Thank you, Dustin. But I am transferring to biology with an emphasis on ecology. So I'm really passionate about the environment. I see myself having an environmental future. I make an effort to go outside every day, do something small. In my environmental club, I make sure to have lots of events and different activities that put focus on our community and environmental justice and awareness. Yeah.
Does anyone have a spot that they particularly love around the Twin Cities that they go see? Everyone, I think, who hasn't been to Northern Lights probably now and wants to go to Northern Lights. But does anybody have a spot that they've been able to get to pretty easily around here that they'd recommend? If not, don't worry about it. All right. Oh, here. Go. Sorry.
I live in the St. Michael or Wright County area, and Eastman Nature Center is a really good spot. That's initially where we first met everyone in class, and it's actually really close to where I live. So I found that to be a really good place to attend, just go and walk around or attend an activity or an event of some kind. I thought that was a good space to do that.
That's great. Thank you. Danami, we have a question from somebody who wanted to know how they can access this movie outside of this evening. He's thinking.
It's not because the question is hard. I'm just thinking how much I want to flex, let's say that. All praise be to God. The simplest way is you can go to our website, BairStories.com/belonging, or you can just Google belonging movie. It's going to pop up. But then also, if you watch or subscribe to the Water Barrier Network, Belonging is also there. And then for whatever reason, if you're in Michigan later this year and the northern part, Marquette, you can turn on the PBS station and watch Belonging then. So there you go.
Congratulations. All right.
And Danami, you don't even know this because I just found out today, but it's also going to be screened at the Children in Nature Network. And some of these students don't even know yet, but they're going to be presenting at that on May the 14th. Yeah.
All right. Before I invite Anne up here to say some final thoughts, I want to thank everybody, and I want to know if you have any final words that you'd want to tell the students, or what have you learned from them that you want us to know?
Well, I learn from my students every day. I love you all. And I know you joke that I take 2 close-up mom Facebook pictures of you all. But it's, just an absolute joy and privilege. I've known some of the students up here since they were freshmen in high school. Some of them have had babies. Some of them have fallen in love on the program. So you get to see all kinds of just different sides of a person when you're sweaty and muddy and, you've been out in nature for 15 hours. But I would say, watch this space. These are our future leaders, and that's why it's really important to keep creating opportunities for our young people to share their voices, because you all have a lot to say. And I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being up here with me.
Thank you, you guys. Fantastic job. There you are.
Thank you, Stephanie. First, I want to say thank you to our students who are up here and to our 3 storytellers. And I want to let you know that I hear you. We hear you. We are listening, and we will keep listening. And then we got to do something with it. So thank you for taking time to share your experiences, because it moves things, and we appreciate it. Also, huge thank you to Anna, to Jothsna, to Danami, Stephanie, again, all of the students and mentors and our audience for holding space tonight. We're going to say thanks to our sponsors once again, the Minneapolis Institute of Arts, NPR News, Bar Engineering, the Minneapolis Foundation, North Hennepin Community College, Change Narrative, and BairStories. We flexed a little bit more for you there at the end. We have another event like this coming up, and it's also a movie. So come again, get 2 of 2. It's going to be this July, on July 23rd at the Capri Theater. It'll be our next Generation of Parks events. We're going to be screening another Minnesota-based film called Basketball State, The Land of 10,000 Hoops. And we have a panel discussion featuring the filmmaker, Gabe Hostler, and Minnesota Lynx broadcaster, Leah B. Olson, as well as many other special guests. So it should be a fun night. I had one housekeeping request from Mia. Please take your pens with you, but put them in your pocket or your purse, because you cannot carry them through an art gallery. So the pens need to stay in here or be hidden away. And most importantly, thank you all for being our friends and partners in our beautiful spaces of Minneapolis Parks, and thanks for your support of the Minneapolis Parks Foundation and the students here tonight.